B-Max Audio Adventure. It's BJJ365, and it's Tuesday, which means I'm joined by Lonnie Jones. I don't know if we're going to be able to do this every Tuesday.
Tuesdays, most Tuesdays.
But many Tuesdays, I'm joined by Lonnie Jones.
And by the way, that is M-A-N-Y Tuesdays, not M-I-N-I Tuesdays, just because I'm here. Yes, no, we're not going to do the mini Tuesdays.
He's short, that's what he's saying. But you ain't that short, man. What? How tall are you?
5'4".
That's pretty short.
I embrace it.
I'm 5'8", and I'm like towering over you.
Yeah.
I feel like Shaq.
If I need to be taller, I'll stand on the bodies.
You were about to read something to me about the Muse. We were talking about Muse, not the band Muse, which is a great band, by the way, Lonnie. I like Muse. If you don't like Muse, you're listening. Just, I don't know. Turn this off. I don't need you.
I need to leave because if it ain't Seeger, Styx, or ELO, I don't know who they are.
ELO.
Yeah.
But yeah, I used to make music. I used to write music and stuff, and I hadn't written in forever. And I was telling you, I just don't ever like feel the Muse anymore. Like the Muse never shows up. And then you were like, oh, here.
Well, I listened to a TED Talk. And the lady who wrote Eat, Pray, Love, which I haven't read and I haven't seen the movie, but she said, it's a bestseller. And how do you explain that process and what's the dynamic of getting the muse to come to you? And some of the things she said, I took some really loose notes, that genius was related to the concept of a genie that would visit you and give you your inspiration.
So like etymologically they're related?
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. I mean, they sound like they are, but
and
I never made that connection.
Well, it's probably it's probably a corruption. I think the original, we won't talk an English lesson, but D-J-I-N-N is the genie. A djinn. It probably comes from the Arabic culture, but again, don't quote me. That's from that part of my brain.
I'm for sure going to quote you on that.
Well, that's that part of my brain that stores useless information that everybody fusses at me about. But anyway, the genie, the genius, the muse would come, and she quoted a guy who wrote music, and he said it always comes to him while he's driving, and he couldn't write it down.
Yeah.
And this is before, iPhones and stuff. And finally he said one day he just stopped his car and said, look, you either come to me when I can write or leave me alone, go bother somebody else. But as she talked about her process of writing, she said, she'd walk in the morning, every morning at a certain time, she'd sit in front of her computer and start to compose, start to write, start to work on this book. And she would start out with, let the record show, I showed up. Now, if you want to inspire me, if you want to interfere in this process, here I am. But I'm doing my part. I showed up.
Uh-huh.
And I think that's, you think about the genie of jiu-jitsu. Those guys that just appear in the sport, and I don't have a great foundation of who the movers and shakers are, but, I think about Barncat, that if you looked at somebody and you judged him, on physical appearance.
For sure.
Or I'm the guy who gave him the advice to wear an eye patch when he does his stare downs in tournaments, because, he said, I'm just not very intimidating. I said, well, roger that. But he started his jiu-jitsu by showing up. Step out on the mat and do your part. Control the controllables. You show you control whether you show up or not.
That's really the only thing you can. I mean, you can control your work ethic. I say it's the only thing you control. That's not true.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things you can control.
But it starts with, there are a lot of places you can be on training
all of those
day.
Things are uncontrollable without controlling the most important thing, which is presence.
Yes.
And there's never been a journey of any amount of any length that ever started without just showing up.
Right. And you just show
and continuing to show up.
And then last time we talked, you mentioned about the guy that has to be the world champion, or that has. And I left out one of my favorite demotivational quotes.
All right.
The slopes of Mount Everest are littered with the bodies of people who were once highly motivated.
Whoa.
Heart does not always make it work. Desire and goal. But you do have to show up to find out where the end of the journey is.
Yeah. So talent is a huge factor. It's a huge factor. And like when we pretend that, you can be whatever. No, you can't. Like, I can't play in the NBA. I can't. I could have been way better at basketball, but I wasn't going to the NBA. You know what I mean?
If they would hire me to use my 5 fouls, I could have played at that level. Don't
use
bring
them right away.
Don't bring that weak trash into my lane. Who do you want me?
I don't even think I could catch those guys to foul them, dude.
I just stand there and elbow Kobe in the thigh, and 5 of those straight up. I've affected the game.
He would jump over your little head so fast.
He sure would.
You wouldn't even be like reaching for him, jumping.
I'll hit his ankle. But the guys, and I don't want to be irreverent to the people who died on Everest.
Yeah, of course.
But weather, that thin window of can you make it on this push? A lot of things they couldn't control, but their motivation did not erase the realities of the world.
Yeah.
And so showing up is not just about being motivated to show up, but when I show up, am I going to have the personal integrity to work hard?
And be prepared to deal with the things and, the emotional strength and or physical strength, depending on the situation, maybe both, probably both. Depending on the situation I'm dealing with, am I going to have the emotional strength, the physical strength, the emotional experience, the physical experience to deal with the things in front of me? So like in a situation like the Everest thing, like climbing Everest, sure, you got the motivation, but maybe you got the emotional skill, or maybe you got the physical skill, the physical strength to deal with it, but emotionally you just don't have it and you fall apart.
Or do you have the self-control to say, it's time to turn around?
You know when to quit.
We've passed the safe point, and the ego boost of I went to the top versus, I climbed on it. And maybe I'm not a mountaineer, so I don't know, but the idea that I've been a failure if I don't go there, but compromise your life by pushing to that next limit. And maybe I'm talking on both sides of my mouth, because I do think motivation and dedication are there.
You.
Okay.
You have to have, I think both things, it's like a suspension bridge, right? Both things are equally true at the same time, although they are opposite.
Right.
But in order for the suspension bridge to hold up, it's got to be tense, equally tense at both ends, in order for the chasm to be crossed, right?
That's
so
true.
I think that's I think about that illustration a lot in jiu-jitsu. Like, all right, I want to have my weight on him. Also, I don't want to have any weight on him right here. I got to have all my weight here, but I should have like the exact opposite should be true as well. They almost have to be true in order to keep things balanced out. That's what balance is.
And so when you show up at a jiu-jitsu mat, you need to be able to put all your weight on the mat and leave some other stuff at home. Mm-hmm. I'm not here to work out my marriage problems. I'm not here to work out my ego problems. Yeah. I'm not here to work out that, and a lot of people who are good at jiu-jitsu aren't good at traditional sports.
For sure.
So it's not about coming in and proving, well, they cut me from the junior high basketball team, I'll show them. Just come learn jiu-jitsu.
But at the same time, it is equal parts truly about dealing with all of those things and dealing with past failures or past inadequacies or what you feel are current inadequacies.
But one is the process and the other is the product.
Yes.
And showing up and doing your job on the mat at the time is the process. And then those byproducts, not primary products, the byproducts come with them.
We were talking about the Muse earlier and just the consistency of showing up. I can't remember the guy's name. I think I've mentioned this before. I need to learn his name. But the guy from Weezer, the lead singer from Weezer, I'm about to look it up right now. It's going to drive me crazy. But anyway, I don't even know if this is true. This is just a story I heard from somebody. He writes a song every day.
Okay.
Every single day he starts and finishes a brand new song. Now, that's a lot of days, which means that's a lot of songs. Rivers Cuomo is his name. Awesome. Harvard graduate, by the way.
I'm trying not to judge.
he attended Harvard, but intelligent guy. But his thinking is, I sit down, I write a song every day, and most of them are going to be terrible. And he knows, look, not every one of these is a hit. In fact, out of all the albums that Weezer's had, which I don't know what, probably 6, something like that, 7 maybe, they've had 5, 10 hits. But man, if they've been around for 10 years, he's written thousands of songs. They've been around way more than 10 years.
But again, back to the product versus process. Of all the days I spend in the woods deer hunting, how many days this season will I see a deer and how many of those days will I harvest a deer? And out of the deer I harvest, how many of them will be, trophy class? Those are rare events in your lifetime. So you show up and do your work. You're not going to win every match. You're not going to dominate every match. But are you going through the process of being in the woods long enough that the woods is where you're comfortable?
That, and I think, too, it's not just you show up and wait on the magic to happen either. You show up knowing that the magic's probably not going to happen today, but that the process itself is the magic. Yeah. The process itself is the magic. So I show up and I write for 3 years, and I write every day, and I write a song every day for 3 years, and nothing happens. The magic doesn't happen. But the process of learning how to, like, the experience of what I know now about writing after 3,000 days versus what I knew then about writing, that's what makes the magic song show up eventually, if it shows up, when everything's in place, the talent, the opportunity, the consistency, the being able to remove the ego enough to actually write instead of just being
right. And then too, looking for the magic to happen is about being self-aware or being self-absorbed. And we talked about one time, I don't think it was on the mic, about unconscious incompetence.
Yeah.
And the idea of, are you aware of what's, if I hunt the same spot and I don't see any deer, the magic's not going to happen unless I move spots possibly, or am I making noise? Am I scent pure? So you show up on the judo mat or the jiu-jitsu mat and you go, hey, this is not happening. It may be time to talk to somebody that you really, really trust and go, hey, what do you see in my game? What do you see in these? And that's why having a mentor or a coach is really, really good, because I learned a lot of jiu-jitsu off VHS.
Yeah.
And the little things that you can't feel on a tape with an instructor and live rolling, you learn, hey, it looked like this, but it feels like this. And being self-aware enough to say, what do I need to change? What do I need to prove? That's part of the magic. And the magic is not always something that I did. It's something I learned not to do. The young man that is it Keelan?
That takes the video?
Yeah. Years ago at the old gym, he said that they do a thing at his office they call the KISS drill. And, of course, you're rolling with a guy, and he starts to, anyway, KSS, things that you keep doing, things that you start doing, and things that you stop doing.
Yeah, he keeps a list like that.
And I think that's a good thing to have rolling, at least in the back of your mind. I came here today to roll, and here's something I'm going to keep. Here's something I need to start, and here's definitely something I need to stop.
Yeah.
That's magic. Now, it may not be the kind of, trophy awarding, stand on the podium, get a gold medal magic, but that's magic.
Yeah, it doesn't make you an overnight success. But I've been using this quote a lot lately. It takes 10 years to become an overnight success.
Yes, that's true.
Like that. We'll close with that one. We got to get out there on the mat. All right, guys. Don't forget about Toehold, TOE_HOLD on Instagram. Make sure you hit him up, slide in his DMs, and he'll give you a discount on some personalized, customized flip-flops. Flip-flops of the variety that would please you tremendously. If you like flip-flops. If you don't like flip-flops, probably won't do nothing for you. You're not a flip-flop guy, Lonnie.
I'm not.
He's a shoe man. Even jump on the mat sometimes with shoes on.
In the zombie apocalypse, you flip-flop guys are done. I'm just saying.
Well, look, man, if things go down, I ain't going to make it long anyway. Just send them straight to my house. Ain't nothing I can do. Makes me want to learn how to use a samurai sword, though. You watch The Walking Dead?
Yeah, I do. Hey, a machine gun's great, but a machete won't jam. That's my quote.
I don't know, why did everybody not start, like the whole show at this point, after they see this chick, the whole show should be them sleeping, going out to get food, and taking their swords with them, all of them, or them training to get better at the sword. That should be the whole show.
I got a tomahawk for my RMJ Tactical Tomahawks. That's your zombie weapon right there.
Okay. I'm probably just going to cry and see if I can draw the empathy of the zombies. Like, please don't eat me, Mr. Zombie. I'm afraid. Because I was jiu-jitsu, I'm out of luck. They're going to bite me for sure. I'll bite him.
Those arms will come off. I'm telling you right now.
Yeah, if I don't get bit, I got to get close, man. What can they? You get zombied up by scratches?
Depends on the zombie movie you're watching.
Oh yeah. What was the zombie movie where they were so fast? Brad Pitt's movie.
Z Nation or something like that. Yeah, I'm out with fast zombies. I'm out.
That's the only thing. There's nothing you can do about that.
Yeah.
That thing's took over the world. Quit. They can run and catch you, dude. You're in bad trouble.
Oh,
All right, so anyway, go visit Toehold because he's the best. Don't wear flip-flops in a zombie apocalypse unless you got some of these ones I got right here that he made me. Check that bad boy out. I believe I could take out a zombie with one of those.
Oh, I could take over a small third world country with that. That's a blunt force. It's a force multiplier. Yeah. That's a serious piece of leather.
Yeah, it's how hand pressed. Oh, look at that.
Wow.
If you were going to wear a pair of flip-flops, you'd wear
If I were going to wear a pair of flip-flops, this is straight up what I would wear. Man, That's true.
True. Toehold. Oh, and screenshot the podcast and share it and tag us both, and you'll be entered to win a free pair, one a month. So about time to give another one away. We gave away a pair last month. About time to do it again, end of the month here. So exciting times. Go see my website, www.brandonmc.ninja. All you know, jiu-jitsu needs $5 a month. Hey.